guest for the afternoon is someone I'm very excited about, Scott Collins, project executive at Bedrock. How are you, Scott? Good to
I'm
see you
great.
again.
Good to see you, Jerry.
Pleasure. So I'm not even going to, do you have things? Do you have things to show us?
You know what? All I'm going to do, we put things together just to kind of roll behind.
Terrific.
Because I know that was something that was asked of us
Yeah,
a couple days ago. And
you have transformed, Bedrock has transformed the city of Detroit. The areas that you've gone into were definitely in not good shape, and that's an understatement.
Mm-hmm.
And you had a mission to completely reinvigorate that city. So I will let you lead this and tell us a little bit about what you've done and what you're about to do.
Yeah, sure. Appreciate it. So,
Sure.
Obviously our story, and we've been here several times.
Sure, but some of the people joining us know
great.
nothing.
But we would call ourselves an early adopter into this conference in smart technology.
Yeah.
But a little bit of our story, we started in 2011 procuring properties in what we call the Central Business District of Detroit. So it's a 2 by 2 mile, say, or a 1.5 mile by 1.5 miles of a city that's 138 square miles. So our piece is just identify a small area and try to change. And what we kind of put together here in the slide deck is a rolling kind of report of buildings we bought, what they look like before, what they look like today.
Oh, I love it.
Again, kind of a before and after.
And what is that? So that's a residence now.
So that's now a residence.
What was it before?
Before it was who knows what, an unoccupied building.
Sure.
And then ultimately tying the technology piece. This is what we end up with on a graphic interface, so that when we transition from development into the finished product, our operations staff have these very high-tech tools that ultimately they can maintain and manage the building from. So you start to see we're taking what was a decayed building and ultimately transforming it into one of the most technical buildings in the country, and just tying systems together so we can better operate, we can better provide a better tenant experience for our folks. So we started this 2011. We had 3 properties. That's about the time I came on.
Yep.
Today we have north of 100. All in the Central Business District. Well, I should say about 90% in the Central Business District, and we just are every day doing a little bit more to try to grow our footprint.
Tell me a little bit about the technology at work in some of these buildings. How smart are they?
They are extremely smart. Actually, we were fortunate to win the smartest building portfolio last night at the award show.
Congratulations on your Digi Award.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to what we've tried to do.
This is a bank vault behind us?
This is a bank vault. Yeah, what it looked like when we purchased the building, and then the next slide is what it looks like today.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
So you're transforming kind of cool spaces.
Is it a restaurant or is that someone's living room?
It's actually an interior design group that we have called Depop, which does a lot of our in-house design work.
Boy, they must have been stoked when they saw that they got a bank vault as their conference room. How
cool
wonderful.
Space.
Tell me about the technology. What are some of the things that I, as a resident or a tenant in your buildings, what are some of the amenities that I'm going to enjoy? Look at how beautiful that is. What is that? Is that a salon?
Crazy? So that is an open space for them that they have team meetings and so on, or just kind of hang out and do their work.
The design firm?
This is the same space that we were looking at before. So if you looked at the slide before, it was literally boxes. There you go. That's what it was before, and then ultimately the next slide is kind of the after.
Gosh.
So you get the sense of kind of what some of our, unfortunately, the years of decay that transpired through the city of Detroit, and ultimately the transformation that's occurring. And so and here we are technology-wise. This gives us real-time outlooks on what's going on particular floors, so that you asked what our tenants can expect.
Yeah.
Our drive behind deploying a system like this is really for us to be able to understand the physical environment before our tenants may even know. So if a piece of equipment is down in this space, I want to have a technician deployed to that piece of equipment before my tenant even has an issue.
And you'll see the temperature get up, to the high 70s before a person notices that they're warm. Your sensors are on it. That's fantastic.
And so that applies to HVAC systems, lighting control, cameras, elevators. We really kind of we're of the perspective that any data that we can pull from the building is valuable data in some way or shape or form. And then
I've been told by some, I have friends who believe that this is life-saving technology, that there are times where you will avert disaster or sometimes on a camera see a situation that's an emergency that you wouldn't have noticed anywhere. Have there any other way? Have there been situations like that?
Certainly, the example that I like to utilize, and in this area, part of rebuilding the city is to create a safe environment.
Right.
So we help this city as much as possible. We have 3,000 to 4,000 cameras on the street, trying to capture anything and basically drive out. Probably 3 or 4 years ago, we opened a building. We had a grand opening. Woman parked her car in the street and left the windows wide open, which you wouldn't do in your home.
Right.
She had her purse stolen out of the front seat, and from our cameras and our technology and security, we tracked down who had done that and actually got her purse back for her.
Really?
So, yeah, so
That's terrific.
it's funny, and it's all tied to really the same network that we look at from a technology perspective.
What is the city? Is this? It's obviously making some kind of difference, but what is the difference that this is making to the city of Detroit?
I don't know how you. Probably the best way to experience it is really to come see it. I mean, the city has. When I started 5.5 years ago, you could walk through our central area of the downtown area, and it was a very, very sparse, environment. Today, if you walk through that same environment, you're seeing thousands of people on the street. You're seeing thousands of people in restaurants. Our lease percentages are in the high 95 to 100% in office, residential, parking, and retail.
Is it catching on to? Is it creating a knock-on effect for the rest of Detroit?
It is. You're seeing, even outside of our little square, our window, you expand out, call it a 7-mile radius, and you've got other pockets that are developing. You have other neighborhoods that are developing, and you're really seeing a transformation of people coming to the city. The Detroit traditionally was, at least in my lifetime, was a very suburban city that came to the city only when needed, and now that's really transforming. You're seeing people actually wanting to live downtown and create that urban core and great environment. So
that's terrific, Scott. What would you say to anyone out here who is, on the brink of taking on projects and trying to make their buildings smarter and do initiatives that, even if they're not the scale of what Bedrock is doing, if they have some of the scope of what you're doing, what would be your advice to them?
It's been a common theme in many panels that I've sat in this week. It's about strategizing what smart means to you. So, we've kind of gone all in and we integrate and we want to see all kinds of data. But some organizations might only have a pain point in a certain category. Maybe it's building management systems, or maybe it's security systems. What I would say is sit down and draft out a strategy of what your company is looking for and what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
What's your purpose to get into the smart space? And then there's plenty of technologies that can be applied to help you meet those visions. But it's really, I think a lot of people here start out by trying to buy a technology and then try to apply it to their business, and it doesn't work. You really just have to start with that strategy and move on from there.
Start with the heart, start with the bedrock.
Absolutely.
Scott, thank you so much
Thanks
for being
again.
with
Great
us.
to
It's
see you.
great to see what you're doing.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for bringing these incredible examples of what Bedrock is up to.